Part 1. The problem. Studying hard but forgetting fast. Have you ever felt this? You spend hours, sometimes an entire evening, studying, underlining every line, highlighting paragraphs in bright colors, reading the same pages over and over until your eyes burn. Yet after just one night's sleep, nearly 70% of what you learned has vanished as if it never existed. You pick up your notebook, look at the lines you tried so hard to memorize, and an empty feeling washes over you. It's frustrating, isn't it? You're not lazy, you're not lacking discipline, but your memory seems to betray you. And here's the truth, it's not your fault. It's simply how the human brain works. The brain is a marvelous machine, but also ruthlessly practical. It doesn't keep everything you see or hear. It constantly filters out information it deems unnecessary to save energy. This was once a survival advantage. In the wild, you didn't need to remember every leaf you saw, just which fruits were safe to eat and which were poisonous. But in today's world, where you need to recall chemical formulas, English vocabulary, or layers of academic knowledge, this mechanism has become an invisible enemy. You try to learn, but your brain quietly erases. Imagine walking into a vast room where hundreds, even thousands of pieces of information float like scraps of paper. You try to grab them, but the wind, time itself, blows them away. Within 24 hours, most are gone. By the third day, only a few fragments remain. This is the forgetting curve, discovered over a century ago by psychologist Hermann Ebbinghaus. He showed that memory fades rapidly unless reinforced through proper review techniques. If you think you have a bad memory, stop right there. The truth is, your brain is functioning exactly as it was designed to. The problem lies in how we learn, not in our natural ability. We are taught to memorize, but never taught how to retain. We're told to read more, take more notes, highlight more, and we believe that's enough. But here's the harsh reality. These methods only make us feel like we're learning, when in fact they're doing little to help our brains store information. This is the trap of false progress, that warm feeling of improvement that hides the fact we're going nowhere. Think back to the last time you sat for hours with a book and a highlighter. You carefully marked each line, believing that the glowing yellow or green would somehow cement the knowledge into your mind. But then, in the exam room, everything went hazy. The blank page before you became a wall separating you from the answers. You knew you had studied it. You remembered seeing it somewhere. But your memory refused to open the door. This sense of helplessness has led many to doubt themselves, to believe they aren't smart enough. But what if I told you that in Japan, students memorize over 2,000 kanji characters, complex, intricate symbols far harder than the Latin alphabet, and keep them for life? How do they do it? The answer isn't that they're smarter or born with superhuman memories. They simply learn differently. They understand that memory is not a bag you can stuff anything into. Memory is a garden. It needs care, watering, weeding, and replanting over time. Without proper care, that garden will wither, no matter how many seeds you sow at the start. Here's the fascinating part. Almost all of us have experienced the power of long-term memory without realizing it. You still remember how to ride a bike, play a song, or recite lines from your favorite childhood movie. You remember not because you memorized them, but because you repeated, experienced, and connected them to emotions. The brain loves emotions, and it prioritizes storing what moves you or connects deeply to your life. The problem is, in school or work, we strip away that emotional link and replace it with dry, detached study methods. The forgetting curve is a dangerous enemy because it works silently. It doesn't warn you. You can leave your desk feeling, I've got this. But within 24 hours, most of it is gone. It's like writing in the sand just before the tide comes in. And if you keep studying the same old way, rereading, underlining, cramming, you're just writing in the sand and hoping the waves won't come. But the waves always come. The good news? You can stop the tide. The Japanese have found a way to turn writing in sand into carving in stone, information etched deep into the mind. They don't fight the brain, they work with it. They use techniques rooted in neuroscience to change the learning process from the ground up. And this allows them to retain knowledge for years, even a lifetime. So why hasn't your teacher told you this? Why has no one explained that the problem isn't ability, but method? Perhaps because the education system has long valued teaching more over helping you remember more. We've been trapped in a cycle of study, test, forget, repeat, rarely pausing to ask, is this really the best way? If you've ever felt you weren't smart enough, remember this. You've just been using the wrong map for your learning journey. And believe me, once you change your approach, everything will be different. Imagine a future where you learn once and remember forever, where knowledge becomes part of who you are, not just scattered puzzle pieces. That future is possible, and in the next part, I'll show you exactly how the Japanese make it happen. Part 2. Solution. 5 learning methods, like the Japanese. If Part 1 showed you the harsh truth that studying a lot but forgetting quickly is a natural rule of the brain, then this Part 2 is the door that leads you to a different way of learning, smarter, deeper, and more sustainable. The Japanese have applied these principles for hundreds of years, turning them into a part of their learning culture. The wonderful thing is, you don't need to live in Japan, nor spend your whole life learning kanji, yet you can still apply them and achieve similar results. Number 1, active recall, the samurai of memory. Most people think that learning is the process of inputting information, reading books, watching videos, taking notes, highlighting, but the truth is, memory doesn't strengthen through reading, but through recalling. This is the essence of active recall, a method that requires you to retrieve information from your brain instead of just looking back at it on the page. Every time you try to recall a concept or a definition, the neural connections related to that information are activated and reinforced. Imagine your brain as a system of trails. If you walk a path only once, grass will grow back and the path disappears. But if you walk it repeatedly, it will become a solid, well-trodden road that you can easily find again at any time. The application is extremely simple. Read the material once, close the book, take a blank sheet of paper, and write down everything you can remember. At first, you may feel uncomfortable, as if you're failing because you can't recall much. But this difficulty is exactly when your brain is building that path, making it last longer in your long-term memory. The Japanese don't read over and over until memorized. They turn recalling into a training session for the brain, just like a samurai practicing swordsmanship. Number 2, Kumon method. Small steps, but effective. Kumon is a famous educational method in Japan, applied to millions of students around the world. Its core principle is, don't jump straight into solving a difficult problem or reading a complex chapter, but break it down into small, approachable parts. Each day, you learn just a little, but you learn deeply without skipping foundational steps. When these small steps are done consistently, knowledge gradually becomes a natural reflex. This is similar to the atomic habits principle by James Clear. If you improve by just 1% every day, then after a year, you'll be 37 times better. The power of small but consistent progress is that it doesn't create pressure, doesn't exhaust you, yet is sustainable. The Japanese understand that persistence outlasts bursts of effort. Instead of studying for 5 hours in one day and then stopping for a week, they study 30 minutes a day and maintain it for months. The result is that knowledge is reinforced and retained for a long time. 3, spaced repetition, watering the plant of memory. Think of memory as a young plant. If you water it continuously for one day and then leave it for a month, it will wither. But if you water it at the right time, when the soil just starts to dry, it will grow strong. Spaced repetition works by that same principle. Instead of reviewing everything at the last minute, you review at the moments when memory is starting to fade, right before you forget. An effective review schedule is usually 24 hours after the first learning, 72 hours later, 1 week later, 1 month later. Each time you review, the brain marks that information once again, embedding it deeper into your long-term memory. The interesting thing is that you don't need much time for each review. Just a few minutes at the right time is enough. The Japanese use this method systematically because they know that reviewing at the right moment is more important than reviewing many times in a row. 4, Kaizen, 1% improvement each day. Kaizen is a famous Japanese philosophy meaning continuous improvement. In learning, this means you don't wait until the last minute to cram, but take a small step forward every day. One quick and simple way to apply Kaizen is to divide your learning time into 6 minutes a day. 2 minutes of active recall, 2 minutes of spaced repetition, and 2 minutes of focused practice. It may sound short, but when done consistently, after just 1 month, you will notice a clear difference. Your memory improves, your understanding deepens, and the pressure of studying decreases significantly. Kaizen teaches us that small changes create big results. If you study this way, you won't just remember better, but also keep a relaxed mindset, no longer feeling tired or fearful before exams. 5. Shu, the art of deep focus. Learning techniques cannot reach their full potential if you don't have the ability to focus deeply. Shu is a concept in Japanese culture that represents a state where you are completely immersed in a task, unaffected by the outside world. The Japanese create Shu through small but effective rituals, studying in a fixed space, eliminating all distractions, using the same pen, or even lighting a candle to signal to the brain that it's study time. When these signals are repeated many times, the brain automatically switches to a focused state as soon as they appear. That's why you see many Japanese people sitting for hours in a library or study corner without being distracted. They have programmed their brains to treat study time as a sacred moment. When you combine all 5 methods, active recall, Kumon, spaced repetition, Kaizen, and Shu, you will no longer study in the old way of cramming and forgetting, but turn learning into a slow yet steady journey. These are not temporary tricks, but a system that helps you remember, understand deeply, and keep knowledge for life. Try to recall a moment in your life when you were truly good at a certain skill. It could be a sport you loved, a game you were once passionate about, or a job you poured your heart and soul into mastering. Back then, you didn't just sit and watch others play. You didn't just read theory or listen to someone talk about it. You practiced, you failed, you adjusted, and then you tried again. Day after day, you accumulated small bits of experience, small improvements. And one day, you realized you had made remarkable progress, to the point that even you were surprised. Learning anything in life is the same. It's not that the more you study, the better you get. It's not that reading more books, watching more videos, or listening to more lectures will help you remember longer. The truth is, you can spend hours studying every day, but if the method is wrong, you will forget almost everything within a few weeks. The problem isn't the amount of time, it's the way you learn. Smart people aren't those who spend more time, but those who know how to turn their study time into lasting results. And this is the moment you need to ask yourself, will you continue learning the old way, learning and then forgetting, or will you apply the methods that help you remember longer and use the knowledge whenever you need it? Especially the 5 Japanese memorization methods I shared earlier. These are not just little tips, but a proven system that has helped millions of students and professionals in Japan multiply their learning efficiency many times over. The interesting thing is, you can apply these methods starting today to any skill or knowledge you want to master. Just imagine, a month from now, you look back and realize that what you learned today is still intact in your memory. 6 months from now, you can easily apply it to your work or life as if it were second nature. A year from now, you become the kind of person others admire for your ability to remember and apply knowledge quickly. Sounds far-fetched? In reality, the only thing that determines whether this becomes true or not is whether you start today or not. The difference between the majority and the top 1% does not lie in innate talent. It lies in action. The majority listen, nod, and leave it there. But the top 1% start experimenting immediately. They don't wait for the right time because they understand that the best time is right now. Which side will you be on? If you feel what I shared is truly useful, if you want to not just listen and forget, but actually change the way you learn, then start today. Don't let another week pass and then wonder why you're still in the same place. Apply at least one Japanese method I've shared right away. Write it down, practice it, and watch the difference. You will see your brain working more flexibly, your memory becoming sharper, and your confidence growing day by day. I know that sometimes changing study habits is not easy. Our brains love familiarity, and they will find every excuse to procrastinate. But remember, every master was once a beginner. What made them a master wasn't luck, but persistence. And that persistence started with one very small decision: to start now. Thank you for listening all the way to the end. That tells me you are not someone who quits halfway. You are someone willing to dedicate time to something that can change your life. And if you've come this far, don't let it stop at just listening. Turn it into action. If you found this content useful, I truly hope you will hit like to support, share it to spread it to the people you care about, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next valuable methods, stories, and knowledge. Every interaction from you is not just motivation for me, but also a way for YouTube to know that this is content worth recommending to more people. And who knows, maybe one click to subscribe today could open up an entirely new, more effective journey of learning and growth for you than ever before. So I'll end with one simple but powerful question that can change everything. Will you just listen, or will you act right now?